Hey folks, and welcome back to another Dev Influencer Show. I'm Charles Max Wood, your host, and I'm going to start this episode just talking about, so I gave two answers to this question that a friend of mine asked me this weekend about starting a podcast. He asked me what the most important skill is to have as a podcaster, right, to succeed at podcasting. And so the first answer I'm going to give is basically, I told him that it's the thing that people get hung up on. And so I'm going to talk about that, and then the next episode, I'll talk about what it is, what that skill is that's going to make or break your podcast. Okay, but if you want to learn more about this, because I do go into depth in the Dev Influencers Accelerator, go check it out at devinfluencers.com. And let's just dive in. So he asked me this question, and we were driving back from some part of the event. We were driving back to the hotel. That's right. He gave me a ride back to the hotel. And I was just chatting with him, and he asked me this question. He said, yeah, what's the most important skill you can have for podcasting, right? And I thought about it for a minute, and then I realized that one thing that a lot of people really get hung up on when they're starting their podcast is trying to get everything perfect. And in particular, it seems like the one thing that really hangs people up is they don't want to sound off or bad or dumb or have some kind of other issue with their recording, right? They don't like the way their voice sounds, or they are afraid that they're not going to sound smart enough for people to want to listen, or they're afraid they won't have enough to talk about, or they're afraid that they won't have the expertise that they need. So when I was talking to him, I said, look, the thing is you have to get over that, right? I mean, I spent 14 episodes really just kind of clearing my throat, so to speak, on this show, right? The first episode, I think, really kind of nailed it as far as what the show's about. But for the rest of it, I was really kind of trying to find my stride, right? I was trying to figure out how this all worked and what I wanted it to be and how I wanted it to look. And I'm still tinkering with stuff, right? I ordered a little bit more equipment for my desk so that I can put the lights up a little bit differently, and so that I can put the camera up and use a different camera, which is a nicer camera, and blah, blah, blah. And so, I mean, I do it too, right? But the thing is that I released those first bunch of episodes, and you're going to see the lighting and setup and stuff change on this show over the next few weeks. And the reason that I released them was because you've got to be willing to just put it out there, right? And you'll figure it out as you go, right? And we've done that on all of the shows, right? We kind of found our voice and hit our stride, especially with new shows where you have co-hosts. You kind of figure out the rhythm as you go. And every guest or every topic has its own rhythm to it. And so you've got to be okay with it not being perfect, because at the end of the day, it's just not everything's going to line up the way you want it. And at the same time, people need the content, right? They need to hear from you about what you have to say. And so you've got to get it out there. The other thing is that you're not going to really know what people are after or what really makes people tick until you're putting stuff out there, right? So if you put a lot of different kinds of stuff out there, then you're going to see, oh, people like it when I tell my backstory, or people really like it when I talk about the thing you need to know, or the one trick or the one tip, right? Or, people seem to really identify when I talk about this, that, or the other, right? And so you have to get past it. You just have to get over it and just go, okay, here it is, right? Here it comes. And then as time goes on, you'll settle in, you'll find your voice, you'll figure out what you want to talk about, you'll figure out what that outcome is, you'll figure out, and I've kind of gone through this back and forth and up and down and side to side, right? As far as like what this show really is, right? Because initially I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to talk about being a dev influencer, but the reality is that I want to help other people become a dev influencer. And I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and he was like, well, why? What's that outcome? And, and I'm going, I don't know. I really struggled with it. And he kind of talked me around to, okay, well, who are the people that you're actually helping one-on-one or in a group setting in this case, right? Who are they? What do they want? What are they looking for, right? And for a lot of these folks, they're looking for that opportunity that's going to give them some kind of extra freedom. For some people, they want to start a business. In fact, all of the people that I am talking to right now want to start a business, right? They have specific goals to put stuff together that's going to make them money. And yeah, some of them are looking to do it with stuff that they really enjoy, right? So they're looking for some other measure of fulfillment. But what we kind of got to was, hey, I can do this and I can make money at it, and I can, I can eventually maybe even quit my job and do it full time because it's something that really deeply fulfills me. And so, yeah, I'm shifting. The show is going to evolve, and it's going to evolve because I'm figuring out, hey, this is what you guys want, right? This is what you guys need. This is the outcome. This is what success means, right? And that's ultimately what I'm looking to do, is help you find success. And so, and you with your podcast should be doing the same thing, right? You're helping your listeners find some kind of outcome. I mean, even if it's just entertainment, you're trying to entertain them, right? You're trying to divert them. You're trying to, give them a break from the real world and all of the crazy stuff that happens out there, right? And even if it's that, right? That there's an outcome. There's a success criteria to what you're doing. And you've got to kind of nail that down. And the way you nail that down is by recording a whole bunch of episodes and realizing that, yeah, the first ones are a little bit embarrassing because they didn't line up or they didn't meet your mission or whatever. But as you kind of work your way through stuff and go record stuff and be okay with the fact that your voice doesn't sound the way you like, then you finally figure it out, right? Maybe you talk to a guest, maybe you talk to a listener, maybe you have some mentor that you find, right? In my case, I'm helping people at devinfluencers.com, right? You can go apply to be part of the accelerator. But I mean, one way or the other, that's what we're looking at. And so that's the big thing, right? Is get over all of the weird insecurities you have about this stuff and just suck it up and do it, right? And maybe you do re-record the first one or two once or twice. By the way, I went golfing this weekend. You only get one mulligan per episode, okay? You can scrap it once. You have to record the whole thing, and then you can scrap it once. But if you scrap it once, you have to go with that second take or go back to the first take. That's it, right? You don't get any more do-overs. You've got to release. So that's what I'm going to push you toward is that, right? So get over the weird hang up you have about how your voice sounds on the podcast. If you don't like it, change your equipment, right? Fiddle with the equalizer, get a different mic. I don't care, right? But record a whole bunch of episodes, get them out there, and then start figuring out, okay, this is what's driving people. This is what they are telling me that they need. And that's what I'm going to put out there. All right. I know this is a little shorter one, but I mean, that's it. So the most important thing, honestly, that I can tell you to do is just release dirty, start dirty. There's a book by Chris Kremitzos who runs a podcast conference called Podfest. And he has a book out there called Start Ugly. And that's it, right? I mean, that's what I'm telling you to do, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Just put it out there. Just go with it. And that'll get you a long ways towards success, right? Once you have a month or two's worth of content, right? I kind of blew through that in 2 weeks because I'm doing it every day. But you don't have to do it every day. Just do it every week. And gather that data, figure out what's making people tick, and then go for it. All right. Well, I'll tell you what the big secret is, the big thing that you need to know, the most important skill you need next time. And until then, max out and go check out devinfluencers.com so you can apply for the accelerator.